Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about what we're designed to eat. When we look at different animals, such as lions, tigers, and other carnivorous animals, we can basically see objectively that they need to eat meat. They even have all the senses, the claws, everything that's required to hunt and prey on living flesh. And then when you look at omnivores, such as bears, you can definitely see that they have the capacity to eat berries, but they're still predominantly meat eating as well. And then you've got the herbivore, which is plant eating animals such as cows, deers, etc., etc. And then you've got frugivores, which is a subspecies of the herbivore, like gorillas and monkeys and chimpanzees and whatnot. When we look at the makeup of all these different types of animals, where we fit in is really similar to a frugivore, and I'll get into explaining why. When you look at what our actual senses incorporate and what we are attracted to is obvious when you actually just think about it, because you are a human and that's quite instinctual. Colors. When we see red, orange, yellow, green, purple, it really has a distinct hue when we are looking in nature. We can tell all these different colors, and that's why when we see them we love the beauty, especially when the background is green. It can really prove that our fruit and vegetables are our prominent food source. That's why it's important that we get back to our own senses so we can then make informed decisions on what we understand about our own physiological design and our biological design. There's a lot of YouTube videos explaining how they're no longer vegan and they're getting back to eating meat and different animal products. Well, I personally believe there's a possibility to survive off certain animal products, but I don't believe we're designed to eat meat in the long term. In survival situations, we have the capacity, and that's where I believe where we've gone wrong on our diet is because of the past survival situations. We've just become accustomed to eating these dead animals. Well, when you go back to our biology and how we are as creatures or a species, you can see that we grind. You can see that our sense of smell salivates to fruits and veggies and herbs and spices and flavors, which we soak on our meat to make it taste better and more palatable. So when you start thinking about these things logically, you can really get a distinct understanding that meat doesn't actually start to make sense. Amongst that, when we have a protein-rich diet, specifically meat, it causes a lot of stress onto our kidneys, which shouldn't be happening if we're meant to be eating it. So I personally believe that the further we get away from eating meat and the more we adopt plant-based foods in its awesome varieties, we can then definitely have more of a balanced, healthful diet. So when we look at the word healthy, well, health is basically proposing that our body is functioning at its normal capacity. There's no dysfunctions, there's no diseases, and there's no observable evidence physically, mentally, emotionally that there's something going wrong with the body. But when we actually are looking into health in a holistic way, we can actually point out that there's more to health than what we are just eating. Stress creates cortisol, which affects different hormones in the body, and then we got different emotional responses. So we have these 7 endocrine glands in the body, and they all provide specific functions to maintain our hormonal structure and amongst other things. When we have certain stresses or certain thought patterns or certain ways of thinking, it literally affects specific endocrine systems within the body, which then in turn affects our hormonal system. So when the hormonal system is getting dysfunctional, it really starts to affect certain parts of the body, and that's when our problems can really get worse, because we think it's what we're eating, which can be the case, because a lot of the times as a coping mechanism we might go to food, which then could be targeting that specific emotional response, which is then affecting us physically. So the more that we actually start looking at our own emotional trauma and how we suppress it with certain habitual thoughts, certain specific actions, we can really start to delve into bringing awareness into what health is really about. It's a lot to do with our conscious state of mind. When we are level-headed, we can rationally execute our ideas and our passions. We are living in a really blissful, beautiful way. But when we're unbalanced, when we're causing unnecessary stresses, when we're living into illusory ideas that aren't really serving us, it's causing physical disease. When you look into The Secret Language of the Body, which is a book, it goes into explaining how certain thought patterns, certain ideas about ourselves really comes down to affecting our physical disease. And even certain things may occur, certain accidents, so many things can unfold because of how we're thinking. And the more that you look into this and the more you connect the dots, you can really start realizing that what we're doing to ourselves is manifesting physically. And until we address what's going on in here, we will never truly be liberated to what real health is about. And a lot of methods we can get into is look at our emotional trauma by certain techniques. One of those techniques is intentional fasting. I personally have done several water fasts, and on those experiences I have approached really unique situations where past trauma has come up through dreams, and I had a physical element show up the next day based off certain scenarios that happened. I won't go into now for the sake of this video. But essentially, past trauma was then being released because I was intentionally wanting to get rid of all the old and bring in the new. And when those dreams showed up, which gave me an insight to how I was thinking about myself, it really paints a picture on how it is affecting our life from day to day. So when we look at all these different things of what we're eating, how our mental state is, how we're emotionally dealing with things, how our thoughts are, we can really get empowered to getting an understanding of what this life is really about and how we can live more powerfully. You know, it's all good to talk about these ideas, but it's in the knowing we can then start practicing different techniques and different things to then become free of our past, because you are the sum and result of all your actions till right now. Everything. So if we can bring awareness to everything that we're doing to now and start becoming aware in each moment of each day, how you're reacting to certain conversations, usually your loved one or people close to you really can bring out things within you that trigger you, and that's a great opportunity for you to address why you're reacting that way. When we bring more awareness to these things, we become liberated and no longer live into these ideas that are no longer or never have really served us. And I just wanted to delve into these different topics because a lot of people have a really surface level understanding of life where it's all just mechanics and it's like a robotic life, and this is just a random experience, and you know, we've figured it out through observing, through science, and we're neglecting this deep intuition, this deep core understanding that's so much bigger than ourselves when we actually look at it from a holistic way and stop looking at things from such a shallow perspective. It's really quite liberating, and I'll be sharing these different topics on this YouTube channel, so subscribe if you want to know more, like if you like the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.